Hi, Jason Pilgrim here from the Profitable Practice Podcast, where we help allied health professionals just like you empower and inspire the lives of so many more people by building bigger and better businesses. Let's go and get stuck in right now.
After reading that heading, you probably think it's about deciding who's ordered bacon and eggs, who's eating healthy and who's not eating healthy, as to why you're going to bring on that next team member. But actually the complete opposite. It's a very, very simple first step about how a messed up breakfast is actually going to give you one of the key indicators to make sure you're hiring the right person in your health team. So let's get stuck in. So we all know that a person's character is revealed during times of great stress, anxiety, great pressure that gets put on them. We see it all the time on the football field or on the sporting fields as a general rule. We've experienced ourselves back at school or university, and you really get to see the crux of yourself or other people when you're under a lot of pressure. And a great way to test that out and to test someone's character is how to actually be able to observe how they react when things don't go according to plan. Now, if it's set up as an interview situation, then they're on guard, and so you won't get that natural environment and observation. So I wanted to do this all about how you can guarantee you're going to be on the right path to getting the right person each and every time you hire, by putting in a simple little strategy in place. And one of the great ways of doing those is by messing up breakfast. So I'll take a little step back just for 30 seconds here and premise this. This particular story I want to tell you about comes about. It's not actually from myself. I didn't make this up. In many respects, I would absolutely love it if I did, because I think it's an absolute gem. Look, the CEO of the Charles Schwab Corporation, the gentleman's name is Walt Bettinger, and for those that might not know much about the corporation itself, the Charles Schwab Corporation, they're actually a banking and brokerage firm. They're based in San Francisco in California, founded probably early 1970s, and they're now one of the largest banks in the United States and one of the largest brokering firms in the United States as well. And great track record for retirement planning, different products and service for financials, banking, investment, etc. And obviously it's an industry that one of my companies over in America is involved with some of the banks that we own ourselves. And it's what actually they do is actually really awesome, and they've got other techniques, but the one particular I want to talk about is what Walt does. And he created this system and he shared it with the New York Times, and basically he knows that a person's character is revealed when they're under pressure or when they're stressed, but you don't get a true sense of that when we just go into an interview situation. And it's why I have a specific signature system in place for how to actually hire. And over the years, I think I've hired about 32 or 34 people in the health business, and of those, there's only been 3 that have not worked out and have done less than like a 2-year stint as practitioners. On average, our people stay with us for just under 4 years, which is absolutely fantastic for our industry. And we've got people that, like my first ever clinic, I only opened about 12 years ago, and I've got people that have been with me for 10 and a half years already. So we've got a very good track record with how we actually hire, and the whole mentality in and around hiring people off interviews, etc., is completely flawed. I mean, let's be honest, we've all been there. We all know that we don the nice clothes or the suit. We walk in with everything there and we act professional, and we get taught to do this, right? I mean, you go out to local job seekers these days with Nova Employment and places like that, and they teach them what to say and what to do. Ask the questions, be engaged, make eye contact, and all of these things. But the true reality is you're getting a complete faux pas. It just makes no sense. You're getting potentially a person who is sitting there and absolutely lying. You don't see who they actually are. You don't see a true test of their character, because they show you what they believe you're wanting to, because it's a job interview. They want the job, they want the experience, or they want the cash, and so they will be the chameleon. They will be someone that they're not. And so that's why anyone who just goes through that old school process of putting up an ad on Seek and going to one-on-one interviews really misses the point, and it's potluck. I mean, I don't like playing darts with a blindfold on with my friends when they've been out drinking, because it doesn't end pretty. And if you're going into that situation of hiring, then you're pretty much doing that right now. So here's the thing that what Walt does. He just said basically, well, what if there's a way for us to actually test out potential job candidates and compare how they react to really unpleasant curveballs in a fairly natural environment, so that we actually get to see the person's character. And so what he actually does is, before every new hire, Walt actually takes the candidates out for a breakfast interview. Makes it quite just, you know, a formal, like it's an interview. He tells them that it's not, you don't have to dress up. We're just going to go out and have a nice meal rather than sitting around a table and being all stiff. And so he makes it so that people feel comfortable. They know that as well, that obviously it's just a way for people to feel comfortable so they can get to know the person more than just, you know, the credentials, etc. But what he actually, what he doesn't tell the potential employees, that he actually shows up early each time, and he deliberately asks the restaurant to purposefully mess up the order in exchange for a fairly handsome tip. Now, they're one of the biggest banks in America. They have a pretty big budget. So if it's turning around to someone earning $4 or $5 an hour as a waiter, plus tips, and you're going to throw a fairly decent sized tip at them that's worth a day of their wage or 2 days worth of wage, then potentially it's going to be very, very nice. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, basically, to watch these type of things actually happen. So he shows up early. He asks the restaurant to purposely mess it up. He offers them a big tip as a thank you, and he basically goes through just like that. Runs the interview, and all of a sudden the prospective candidate has to deal with that adversity and that challenging situation at the time. So the wrong meal gets actually brought out, and so he then starts to have a bit of a look at, are they upset, are they frustrated, or are they really understanding of the situation? And it's basically the parallels between business and life. We get a lot of parallels, and you know, there's that famous saying of how we play business is how we play games is how we play life, and it's the same for business. How we play in business is how we play in life, and so we can toss those around multiple different ways. You know, it was you're wanting to have a look at how they actually react. He wants to know. What did he say? He said he wants to look inside their heart rather than just inside their head. And I think that's really important, because it goes to the character of the person. You know, like he's wanting to look for whether their view on the world really revolves around themselves, or whether it revolves around other people. Because, you know, in that banking financial institute, it's not about bonuses and things like that and just straight money and returns. He wants to make sure that he's doing the right thing and offering the right advice to people that you know, that are on the long-term plan in their brokerage firm, or for the investment opportunities for nearly retired people. So he wants to get the right character in place. He wants to you know, see how they actually react. And unfortunately, most people don't have very good poker faces. They aren't very good under pressure at that situation. And let's be honest, you put yourself in that situation. If that was you having breakfast with Walt and that was in place, you might go, oh no, I have to act professionally and I have to make sure it's all, you know, all fine, etc. But by portraying that, you're going to show through your own behavior that it's not your natural response. So they're going to know that you're actually putting on that act, and that they may not be actually who you are and how you would react in that situation. And a lot of that is just, you know, behavioral awareness and behavioral profiling, and that becomes a very, very simple way. So I don't know whether any of you guys have done an interview like that before, where you've gone to a lunch and something's gone wrong. Hey, guess what? You might have actually been part of their little process of learning how to better hire in and around character and not just letters after a name or the extra couple of pieces of paper. He also goes through, and this is really important as well, after that occurs during breakfast, he actually goes through and he wants them to tell him all about their greatest successes in life. Because what he's looking for is not only about their view on the world, but he wants to know about what they deem as sort of personal and professional success. He asks them about their greatest failures, and he wants to know whether they put that as their own accountability and responsibility, or whether they see the biggest failures that they've had as somebody else's fault. And that goes a lot to the blame game. You want to know with employees that are coming into your health business whether they are going to take full ownership and accountability and responsibility for those type of tasks, or those failures I should say, or whether they're the type of person that will say, well, my greatest failure was this, and this, but if it hadn't have been for such and such, telling me this, I probably wouldn't have done that, and so even though you might not be looking to blame directly, without being able to take full ownership and accountability and understand the learnings or the failings and the lack of understanding or wisdom or knowledge you had at the time, you're naturally going to try and blame someone else. And so Walt wants to know very, very quickly, before they go down and waste any more time, money and effort, as to what you actually deem as your failures, but more so why, what you learnt, and making sure that you're not someone who's going to shirk responsibility and accountability and look for other people and other scapegoats. Like Walt talks about some of his, I remember reading this from the New York Times, and he spoke about some of his different failures, and it was all in and around he had a 4.0 grade average at college, and it was basically, I won't tell the story because to be totally honest, I can't remember all the details, but it was all about going out and playing too much sport, not studying, turned up to the exam, and it was like a blank piece of paper. And the professor, it was something along the lines of, I've taught you everything you need to know, you guys all know it, etc. But the most important question is, what's the name of the lady who cleans this building? And Walt Bettinger had no idea, and he failed the exam, got a B or B plus or something in the class, and he said it had a powerful impact. The lady's name was Dorothy or Dot or something like that. It was a typical old lady cleaning type name, and he didn't even know the woman. He said he'd never seen her, and he'd seen her several times, but he'd never actually taken the time to ask her name. And he turned around and he said the biggest learning he had from that biggest failure was that he now tries to get to know every Dorothy that he works with. And it was a great reminder to him of what really matters in life. And so it's been able to set him up to make sure that he knows all of the team members. He knows all of his clients by name. He gets to know people because at the end of the day, he's representing people. And I think this works beautifully for the health industry. It's something that we train in our teams as well. And so by taking this mentality into the new hiring process, you're going to be starting that process with people straight away. What are the questions you may be potentially able to ask in and around their character, in and around the humanity side of things, about what really matters. Not what did they do in this tough situation, or what would you do with shoulder bursitis, or have you ever been audited by Medicare, or any of these different silly things that I do actually hear people wanting to know. It shouldn't be about you trying to profess how great the team is, and it shouldn't be about you trying to make out how great a manager or owner you are, because at the end of the day, they're coming to you. You're actually the one on show. So it's about you understanding them, getting to know them better about their character. What are their big successes? What do they deem as success? And what are their biggest failures? What have they learnt from it? And I think for how Walt does it, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I wanted to share that with you, that a messed up breakfast deliberately with a cafe or a restaurant could be a really, really good way of doing it. I don't want to take too long with these with different stories, because there's multiple other ways of doing this with your health business. And if you need some more help with this, then please reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to take you through more avenues or help you through my signature system in and around doing that, because our success record on hiring, and I do actually do hiring for some of my clients as well, and go in and show them how to do it, and we run group interviews and all of this fun stuff, and we've just got an amazing record with it. Because honestly, you want to get to know the person. You know, if your team and your culture and your core values and your vision and that mean so much to you guys, then you want to get the right person. You want to hire on attitude and train on skill. And the real test of someone's character is revealed when they're under pressure or in a really stressful situation. So, what can you do to, I guess, stress them out a little bit? There's lots of different ways that we do it. I'd love to hear some feedback on it and find out some of the ways that you do it as well. But there's a great story there from the Charles Schwab Corporation in San Francisco. So learn from that, and maybe you too can even just try that. Do a morning, call through the restaurant the day before, organise it all, slip them another $20, get them to mess up the bacon and eggs order, and learn whether that team member or potential staff member could be your next rockstar team member. That's all from now, guys. Go and enjoy the bacon and eggs, and I will be talking to you again very soon.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.